In a world where there is no peace, we constantly shooting for misguided dreams. Trying to give it everything that we got, only to find out that it ain't all that it seems. We being brainwashed and we being misled. They got us serving a country that left us for dead. Quick to supply the needs of a foreign land, but won't give a helping hand to a starving man. Publicize lies, but the truth is undercover. The media teaching us how to hate our brothers. The ones that's killing you no longer wearing white sheets. They own the streets rocking Timberlands and white tees. Quick to kill one another over simple colors, like they did in 1860.
What up, fam? It's your man, Black Aregan Seaniemo, aka DJ Seaniemo, aka Heartbeats DJ, aka Go-Go Radio DJ. You know what I'm saying, hashtag and all that other stuff. I had done a video a few days ago in reference to, I was sharing my thoughts on what I felt about the verdict. Okay, and that's what we're going to hashtag it as the verdict right there. Hashtagging it, the verdict. But I'm kind of sort of going another direction real quick. And I'll probably come under heat from some of my own peers, but hey, ain't that what we do? We always going at each other. But I'm going to just go ahead and share my 2 cents on some things. Now, after the verdict, I started to see something happen that, let's be honest, a lot of us saw it coming before a lot of us even started to react. And it's funny because when I think about it, and I've shared this, I shared this on the Clubhouse this past Tuesday. You can catch it on gogoradio.com from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Shouts out to everybody there. But I said it on the Clubhouse. I'm not saying that George Zimmerman should not be held accountable for taking a life. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is this. I can kind of understand where he's coming from because I had my house broke into 3 times back in 2004, 2005. And when it happened, you could basically compare it to being raped. And I've never been raped. But if you ever known someone who has, and you've ever had the opportunity to talk to them about how they felt, they'll tell you that it takes something out of you. Like you feel real violated, on a deep personal level. And so when it happened to me, I'm not even going to talk about the dollar amount that, the value of the stuff that was taken versus what the insurance company gave me. Very low, extremely low. But either way, after it happened, I felt like I had been raped. And I found my own self as a black man. I found myself in my neighborhood, the neighborhood we used to live in. I found myself profiling our black children, either when I was driving through, coming home from work, and man, do I miss that car, or when I was walking through the neighborhood, going to the store, going to catch the bus, going around the corner to go to church, whatever. If I saw a young person that fit the description of what was kind of sort of given to the police by a neighbor who saw it but didn't want to be involved, I started profiling. And there was even a point where I was ready to physically go, and every time I saw a young and fit in that description, just straight take their asses out. I felt that way. Once again, I don't know if Zimmerman had his house broken into or not. But what I do know is if he didn't, but he was in a neighborhood where it was happening on a regular basis, because we've been in this house since 2007. I've got one neighbor on the end of me that has had their house broken into 6 times. And the last time that the cats did it, they kicked in the front door and just straight walked through the whole house. That's the neighbor on the end of the house. The neighbor directly next to me told me within a few weeks that last neighbor's house being broke into. Someone tried to come into their back door. Um, they got in the house, and luckily it was someone in there, and they ended up running out. Then the neighbor on the first house on the other side of me said that they saw where someone tried to actually come in their home. I caught them. I was here in the house doing what I do right now, trying to build a home business. Forget trying to build a home business, increasing my home business so I can create jobs. Remember that. I was in here and I heard a big thump at the window and stuck my head out the door and saw two youngins trying to come in. I immediately called the police. I gave a description. They caught the guys. I went to the police station, identified them, and it's a done deal. But even with that, I still felt like, and periodically still do, when I see youngins hanging outside on the corner by the house or on the corner by the mailbox, I find myself slightly profiling them. Like, yo, they look like they up to no good. And I can kind of sort of understand where Zimmerman's head may have been when it pertains to that. Does that mean go outside and bait somebody so that you just have a reason to take somebody out and make an example out of them? Nah, I wouldn't go that far, but I kind of sort of understand his mindset. But more than that, let's look at my people for a minute, all right? Let's talk about my people.
I ask my friends, who are apologizing for not insisting upon this right, where can the black man look in this country for the assertion of his right, if he may not look to the Massachusetts Anti-Slavery Society? Where, under the whole heavens, can he look for sympathy in asserting this right, if he may not look to this platform? Have you lifted us up to a certain height to see that we are men, and then are any disposed to leave us there without seeing that we are put in possession of all our rights? We look naturally to this platform for the assertion of all our rights, and for this one especially. I understand the anti-slavery societies of this country to be based on two principles. First, the freedom of the blacks of this country, and second, the elevation of them. Let me not be misunderstood here. I am not asking for sympathy at the hands of abolitionists, sympathy at the hands of any. I think the American people are disposed often to be generous rather than just. I look over this country at the present time, and I see educational societies, sanitary commissions, freedmen's associations and the like, all very good. But in regard to people of color in this land, there has always been more that is benevolent, I perceive, than just manifested toward us. What I ask for the black man is not benevolence, not pity, not sympathy, but simply justice. The American people have always been anxious to know what they shall do with us. Everybody has asked the question, and learned to ask it early of the abolitionists. What shall we do with the black man? I have had but one answer from the beginning. Do nothing with us. Your doing with us has already played the mischief with us. Do nothing with us. If the apple will not remain on the tree of their own strength, if they are worm-eaten at the core, if they are early ripe and disposed to fall, then let them fall. I'm not for tying or fastening them on the tree in any way except by nature's plan. And if they will not stay there, then let them fall. If the black man cannot stand on his own legs, then let him fall also. All I ask is, give him a chance to stand on his own legs. Let him alone. If you see him on his way to school, let him alone. Don't disturb him. If you see him going to the dinner table at a hotel, then let him go. If you see him going to the ballot box, then let him alone. Don't disturb him. If you see him going into a workshop, just let him alone. Your interference is doing him a positive injury. Let him fall if he cannot stand alone. If the black man cannot live by the line of eternal justice, the fault will not be yours. It will be his who made the black man and established that line for his government. Let him live or die by that. If you will only untie his hands and give him a chance, I think he will live. He will work as readily for himself as the white man. Now, a great many delusions have been swept away by this war. One was that the black man would not work. He has proved his ability to work. Another was that the black man would not fight, that he possessed only the most sheepish attributes of humanity, was a perfect lamb or an Uncle Tom, disposed to take off his coat whenever required, fold his hands and be whipped by anybody who wanted to whip him. But this war has proved that there is a great deal of human nature in that black man, and that yes, he will fight.
Please, who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to? So much so that you don't want to be around each other. No, before you come asking Mr. Muhammad, does he teach hate, you should ask yourself who taught you to hate being what God gave you. We teach you to love the hair that God gave you. Here you way out in the middle of the ocean, can't swim, and you worried about someone that's in the bathtub and can't swim. We don't steal, we don't gamble, we don't lie, and we don't cheat. And that also deprives the government of revenue, because you can't get into a whiskey bottle without getting past the government seal. You can't open a deck of cards without getting past the government seal. There's a white man makes the whiskey and then puts you in jail for getting drunk. He sells you the cards and the dice and puts you in jail when he catches you using them. So he's against us because we fix it where he can't catch you anymore. We take the dice out of your hands and the cards out of your hands and the whiskey out of your head. The most disrespected person in America is the black woman. The most unprotected person in America is the black woman. The most neglected person in America is the black woman. And as Muslims, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us to respect our women and to protect our women. And the only time a Muslim really gets real violent is when someone goes to molest his woman. We will kill you for our woman. I'm making it plain, yes. We will kill you for our woman. We believe that if the white man will do whatever is necessary to see that his woman gets respect and protection, then you and I will never be recognized as men until we stand up like men and place the same penalty over the head of anyone who puts his filthy hands out to put in the direction of our women.
Now, before I go in on my people, I thought it was only fair that I share with you these two videos. Those videos, one was done by Frederick Douglass, and it spoke on the black man's position as it pertains to the 4th of July. And the other one was from Malcolm X, and it was actually titled, "Who Taught You to Hate Yourself?" Now, if you go to my official website, Seaniemo.com, and click on categories, I believe it's categories, you'll see that I have a list of categories where I have posted various blogs. And these blogs are honest. They're very honest. But let me share this with you. For many years, our people have fought. We fought when the first chains, and I'm talking about our ancestors first. They fought when the first chains were placed on them and they were being taken away from home. They fought going across the waters, coming to a strange land. They fought as soon as they hit the dirt in this new land. They have been fighting for years. Okay, fighting for years. And every fight that has taken place that involved our people, we've either lost, literally lost, or have taken the proverbial band-aid and said, okay, and then go on to, well, we got this, so let's hope they listen. Let's hope they understand what we're saying. Let's hope we can get more. We are, in my eyes, we are the hopelessly hopeful kind of people. You know, we use hope. We use hope like that joint is a platinum card. Now understand something. I'm not trying to strip anything away from our people, but I'm just calling a spade a spade. We for years have been fighting. I've got relatives who can tell me about the marches and the cross burnings, and I probably had cousins that were hung, and we've been fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting. And it seems to me that at some point, someone should realize that through all this fighting, all the things that we've been fighting for, if we haven't gotten it now from them, and that's the funny part, we always fighting them to give us something that we should be giving ourselves. That's real talk. Now, I'm going to say this for all intended purposes. I'm not trying to be a racist. I'm not trying to sound like a racist. But if you are anything other than black, this truly right now does not even apply to you, because I don't live your life. I live a black life. Black Rican, that was something that I made up. All right. I got a lot of respect. I went to Puerto Rico. I enjoyed myself. I saw the way that those folks was over there showing each other love and supporting each other. And it was a place that I've always wanted to go back to. And the people I love to death. I love the way that they support their own. I had to come up with something. Black Rican stuck, and there it is. But I've lived black all of my life. And you all know that a lot of us got something other than black mixed in us. History states that. But we're black. And as long as I've been black, I've been that angry black dude. I was angry because I never knew who my father was. I was angry because my mother never told me that she loved me, nor has she ever showed me that she loved me. I was angry because I was bullied as a child. I was angry because certain girls wouldn't treat me right. I was always angry. So yes, you go through life and you bitter and you pissed off and everything. But there was a day, there was a time I became a father and I had to think about some things. And the things that I thought about was this. We have a fight trait in our DNA. Check it out. The fight trait is a genetic thing that is now being passed on and has been passed on probably for the last 25, 50 years, maybe. I'm just guessing right now. I'm not trying to sound like a doctor, but this is just my educated thought. You think about all the previous times in history that our people, your moms and dads and grandmoms and granddads and aunts and uncles and cousins and them picketed, demonstrated, protested, boycotted, sat out, stood out, locked out, all of those things. Think about all of those things that they did prior to our existence. And when you were born, someone had a conversation with you about the fact that the black person can't get jack in America. So what they did was they equipped you to be able to fight. And so we've been fighting so much and fighting so long that we done forgot what we fighting for and why we fighting. And now we fighting each other. We fighting each other because some of us feel like, all right, grant you, Zimmerman was not, he should be held accountable for what I want to call a murder, because shooting somebody who's unarmed is considered a murder, at least in my eyes. I mean, you legal people, y'all can go ahead and say what you want to say, but honestly, if I walked out the door right now and shot somebody who was unarmed and they died, it would be called murder. Okay? If I baited somebody into an ass beating when I shot them and they were unarmed, and I called it protecting myself, but this person wasn't bothering me to begin with, I goaded them into a fight just to kill them, that's murder. And so some of us who understand other dynamics that were never talked about as far as this particular case go, we looked at as being funny. I mean, I'm not even gonna lie, I'm not gonna mention no names, but on one of the shows, I even kind of felt like one of the hosts were coming at me because I did not agree with the ideology and the thought pattern that they were going on it. And even more than that, I thought about one thing. I said, well, okay, if I sit here and continue to be angry and spew words of anger and have emotions of anger, I got children. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to raise my children to be soft or anything like that. I'm definitely raising them to, their mother and I, we're actually raising them to be strong and be independent and be knowledgeable about how to play the game of life. You know, and there's definitely a difference. I'm not going to send my child out looking for a fight. And I'm definitely not going to teach my children because, see, we already got enough hate in the world. So why would I teach my children to hate someone who hates me? You know, the worst thing you can do to a person that hates you is like them. You can't claim to be a Christian. You cannot get on anything and say, thank you, God, all praises to God. Without God in it, nothing happens. And then you turn around and do the total opposite of what a Christian is supposed to be. You're judgmental, you spew hate, and you hate someone who hates you. A Christian is not supposed to do that. To my knowledge, I never read anything where Jesus Christ treated anybody who treated him bad the same way. He gave them the total opposite of what they were already expecting. And believe it or not, a lot of that hate begins with self. So as it pertains to this case, I kind of felt like, all right, you know what? I don't want to take that approach. I need to understand how this thing is really affecting me. And I understood it because I've had my home broken into. So I can deal with and understand the mindset of profiling based on an incident that may have occurred that emotionally affected you. Once again, for you black people who ain't listening to nothing else, I'm not saying he was right in his actions at all. I'm saying he should be held accountable for taking a life. But what I'm also saying is I do understand how this profiling thing could play a factor because I've done it to my own people too. Not by choice, but because of something that they did to me. And I had to realize that that was not the route that I should take. And once again, when you look at how we're responding and how we're reacting, a lot of us expect to catch. And why is it that every time and see, think about the words demonstrate and protest. And why is it that every time it comes time for us to have to stand up and make a statement to a portion of the world that ain't paying us no attention, we got to go fuck up our own stuff? Why is that? I mean, like, what statement are you making other than you don't really want what it is that we already have? And then when you get a step further, I believe there was a comment made either on the show or during a conversation where someone said that they wouldn't blame a black man or a black woman for wanting to make money and be able to move outside of the circumstances that they're currently in. I agree with that. I mean, you know, you are supposed to be able to move forward in life with the successes that you make. And I understand that, and I totally agree with that. But you are also given the responsibility of making sure you pull your people up, because see, it's already been predestined on how things are going to go. Why are we still fighting a government? And please don't get this twisted. Don't get this twisted. This has been said numerous times. But why are we trying to fight a government that really created laws that had nothing to do with us? They were not to protect us. They were not for us. We weren't even a thought or a consideration when it came to the positive side of these laws. These laws were created to keep us in check because they already knew, they already had an inkling that if given the proper opportunity to stand up on our own 2 feet, we would be a powerful people. But here's what happened. We have been programmed to be hush mouth about the things that reside, the issues that reside within our race. That's what we do. We get amongst each other in small circles, and we can waste a whole lot of energy talking about what we're doing wrong, but don't nobody want to put no real work in and do what's right and get our people to understand that we too busy. We can't even agree that we disagree on certain things. We put our energy into stripping each other down and always trying to find fault with each other. But then we get conveniently black. I hope I'm using that word right. But then we get conveniently black and want to come together and go against someone else for doing something to us. But we do the same shit to each other. And I'm not just talking about murdering. I'm not just talking about killing. I'm not talking about that. We do the same shit to each other. We sell each other drugs, watch each other get hooked on it. We watch each other get consumed by alcohol. We watch our homes divide and separate. We watch our men fight our women, our children fight their parents, and don't really do anything. And the few of us that are doing stuff, we're overshadowed by so many people that refuse to accept the fact. And here's the harsh reality. Each and every one of us are flawed, and we can't even accept that fact. Each and every one of us has something within us that we need to work on. Now, I'm not the one to say that you need to make the public confession that you flawed and that you messed up and that here are the things you need to work on. But what I'm saying is you need to get with yourself first and look at those flaws within you. You know what I'm saying? And work on those things. Let people see it externally through the work that you're doing internally. That's how you get it. That's how you're able to to kind of sort of rise above whatever it is that you're conditioned to be in. And I have to admit, I was really sad. I was really hurt. I'm watching all these black people get on TV, especially on CNN. All these black people that know you're not talking for me. You don't even know what I'm going through. I'm a very talented, very gifted, very positive thinking black man that can't even get a job. And I try. Now I'm going to put myself in debt to go through school to get a piece of paper to prove to somebody that I actually got the skill. And I know a whole bunch of black business owners that could probably have me as part of their team and pay me to do what I'm supposed to do and pay me what I'm worth, but they ain't reaching out to me. So how do you expect me to respect you when I see you doing something and know that I could probably fit in, but you ain't even giving me the time of day? What you doing is you taking this business and you putting it somewhere else. How can you scream and holler about what we ain't getting when we don't even circulate our own monies in our own neighborhood, or we jack up the prices and try to take each other's last dollar? I could go on and on and on, and you know it. But how can you sit up here and get pissed off about a decision that was made on someone when you knew it was going to already be that way? See, the Band-Aid came in when folks got to saying, well, yeah, we think he should be arrested and he should be taken to court. You got your Band-Aid. They arrested him and they took him to court. They never said anything about, well, yeah, we're going to go ahead and find him guilty and lock him up. They gave the Band-Aid. Somebody said, we think he should be arrested and taken to court and held accountable for his actions. They never said be charged with anything. They said held accountable. As soon as he hit court, he was held accountable for that action. But they never promised that he was not going to serve time for that. And then, I'm sorry, it just happens to be one of those questions that I've asked numerous times before. Why is it that Jesse and Al show up now when this ain't the only time we've ever really needed them? If they got that kind of pull, to me, those two brothers, with all due respect, those two brothers, they remind me of a one-armed man in a swimming competition. Think about it. That's just how much stroke they got. So I feel like in order for us to be able to get what it is that we keep going to somebody else and asking for, we got to first start giving it to ourselves. And the minute that they see that we can independently stand amongst each other and prosper together, then they'll take notice and they'll start to get scared about it. I mean, all you got to do is look at the people in Egypt. Once again, it's just really amazing how no matter what they were beefing about with each other, you had a group of people that was for the president and a group of people that were against the president. Now, that's a fight by itself, pro and con, right? But think about the people that made up those groups. Think about how many of them may have been beefing with each other over something that ain't had nothing to do with the president, but they managed to put that to the side. I think us black people can do that too. I really do believe that we can do that, but part of the problem is we don't want to address ourselves first. We don't want to address ourselves first before we start addressing everybody else. That's what we do. You got all this crap in your backyard and you rather just go ahead and talk about your neighbor's backyard rather than fixing your own up. And what's so sad is all the stuff that you're saying about one black person, another black person saying the same thing about you. And they see that. They see how we do each other. So as long as we keep doing it to each other, they are going to continue to do it to us too. So see, we got to stop doing it to each other first. That's what's going to mess them up. Part of that is we do need to drop the word nigga from our vernacular. Just because they did it, and much respect to Jay-Z, okay, for all intended purposes, yes, you took a word and took the power from the word, but you know what? You may have taken the power from the word. We may have taken the power from the word, but nobody gave the definition on the new word. So as far as they're concerned, it's the same old word. Forget the spelling. or GGER. It's the same thing. It's the same exact thing. Terms of endearment could be my brother, my sister, like some cats call me unc. Those are terms of endearment. Cousin, that's terms of endearment to me. But until we actually start to look at the issues that reside within our own race, agree that we disagree, and find a place where we can sit at the table, and even if we don't agree on the same thing, at least think about the common goal, and that's to keep our people alive, help our people survive, and to make our legacy worth living for. Until we can get to that point, we're wasting a whole lot of energy fighting for nothing. For real. That's just my 2 cents, man. I mean, you know how to find me. I'm going to roll the credits at the back end, tell you where to go. But that's the Black Americans' 2 cents. Take it or leave it. Choice is yours. I'm out.
We in a world where there is no peace. We constantly shooting for misguided dreams, trying to give it everything that we got, only to find out that it ain't all that it seems. We being brainwashed and we being misled. They got us serving a country that left us for dead, quick to supply the needs of a foreign land, but won't give a helping hand to a starving man. Publicize lies, but the truth is undercover. The media teaching us how to hate our brothers. The ones that's killing you no longer wearing white sheets. They own the streets rocking Timberlands and white tees, quick to kill one another over simple colors, like they did in 1865 over colors. You screaming peace, but you pack a peace with so much confusion. How can you solve a problem when you don't want a solution? In a world where there is no peace, we constantly shooting for misguided dreams. In a world where there is no peace, we constantly shooting for misguided dreams. In a world where there is no peace, we constantly shooting for misguided dreams. In a world where there is no peace, we constantly shooting for misguided dreams. In a world where there is no peace, we constantly shooting for misguided dreams. In a world where there is no peace, we constantly shooting for misguided dreams. In a world where there is no peace, we constantly shooting for misguided dreams. Sit back and watch our queens dethrone themselves. They're searching for the clarity in somebody else. They're searching for her clarity from the opposite sex, claiming he a man on how much weight he possessed. They failing to realize that the self-worth is golden. They wrapped it up and sold it to the nigga that is holding the biggest rounds but lacking pennies to buy a thought. Thinking he a man because of the Chevy he bought. He lacking education, so he has no real knowledge. He fell victim to the streets, so he's now a product in the world where they end up in the prison system by a government who failed to see that we're the victims. The president's about the politics and bullshit. They tell you one thing, get your votes and try to switch. Quit to scream peace and quit to bring all of the problems. Then they gonna lie to us and say they trying to solve them. In a world where there is no peace, we constantly shooting for misguided dreams. In a world where there is no peace, we constantly shooting for misguided dreams. In a world where there is no peace, we constantly shooting for misguided dreams. In a world where there is no peace, we constantly shooting for misguided dreams. In a world where there is no peace, we constantly shooting for misguided dreams. In a world where there is no peace, we constantly shooting for misguided dreams. In a world where there is no peace, we constantly shooting for misguided dreams.